It is time for our main event. Ladies and gentlemen, calling into the show that he calls into every single Tuesday during the football season, a man that never gets talked about ever, about anything that ever happens in his life, to him, with him, involving him. Ladies and gentlemen, the only time this man is spoke about is right now during this show, so let's gather it all in and enjoy the hell out of this. Might have a toe issue, beat COVID, is the reigning, defending, undisputed MVP of the NFL, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah! Hey, dude.
Do I have to have that intro every single week?
So the issue is, the computer that calls you is also the computer that runs the intro video that we do. So to get you on, we're already live, you know, and nobody wants to hear. So it's really just a pastime for me. So I'll start doing different things though. But yeah, you're going to have to fucking hear it, dude. That's the way it's going to have to go.
Okay, just switch it up a little bit here and there. Maybe I'll let AJ do it one time.
Oh, I like that actually. That next week, AJ comes back in from the hour. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't wait to hear it. I'm sure he'll say some magical things. Let's talk about your life right now. That was a heartbreaker, obviously, for fans. I couldn't imagine you. Just thoughts on how the game went, and now we're a couple days removed from it. Have you moved past it?
Yeah, I mean, it's always on to the next opponent at this time during the week. We get to rehash it on this show, which is great.
Always good.
But
let's dive into a miss, an incompletion you had in the first quarter 2 days ago that, you know, you are trying to get past. But let's dive into it a little bit. We apologize for that, but it is nice to hear from you.
No, I appreciate it. I sidebar with you guys how much I enjoy our conversations. I think a decent portion of the viewership probably thinks, especially new viewers, that AJ might be muted or a mute in general.
No. Just the people that see the clips.
We're here for you, buddy. We're here for you. We're not here to hear me speak. We want to hear the old COVID cowboy, Dr. Rogan, Aaron Rodgers speak, not me.
Jeez. See, there you are. Just it up already. I love it. That's great.
Did you feel like you started out cold in the game against Minnesota, though? Because I was watching along in a closet to the Spanish version at the Barclays Center live on a TV, and I couldn't hear what they were saying, but watching, it felt like third quarter, down 13, you threw a ball to Devontae, and then you went to a Devontae again, then you scrambled one, then there was a pass interference, and you threw a dart to DeGuara. Was there something to that? Like when you find it, is there anything to that, or is that just like an ignorant take from watching?
I felt like I was in a rhythm early on. We just missed on a few plays. You know, we had a couple of things detail-wise that weren't great in the execution on a few of the early drives. But I felt like we moved the ball pretty well most of the game. The drive that really got us going was the drive that started with a little over 3 minutes left, rolled into the 2-minute. And, you know, threw a touchdown to Josiah there at the end of the first half. And then, you know, counting that drive, there was a kneel down that J-Lo took. And then, you know, we scored on four straight possessions, really, you know, 4 touchdowns in a row. So we got into a nice rhythm starting with a 2-minute drive. You know, Mike Zimmer's defense is always going to throw different things at you. They had a couple good wrinkles. They brought Harrison a number of times by himself. They had him playing kind of a nickel safety on the first play of the game. They brought a new pressure, which they always do. They got us the first time with it. And the second time we picked up really good, and the second time was the 75-yarder to
MVS.
And the beauty in that play is, you know, I'm sure they talked about on the sidelines, it's a fantastic schematic blitz. You know, the Vikings are known for their double-A pressures. Obviously, they're kind of, Mike and his staff is kind of the inventors of 7-up, 8-up, double edges, double mug. And what they were doing was they were double mugging, putting Harrison on this to the strong side. And they've done a number of variations over the years, but they actually brought the strong backer in the strong A and wrapped the backside backer around with a loop by the 3 technique. Really fucking good pressure. Schematically really good. First time the 3 tech was actually coming free off of it. The second time, you know, we did a nice job. We picked it up. Lucas did a great job of redirecting. A.J. Dillon stepped up and blocked Kendricks, I believe, was in the strong A. And then Royce at right guard did a nice job redirecting for Barr, who was looping around, and gave me just enough time to sit in there and hit Marquez. But that's the beauty in the game is about it, making adjustments and being able to adapt. Again, this which to add another layer to that, our last two plays of the game were pretty good. I tried to call timeout on third down. Lucas thought snap was on that second leg kick. And then Devontae does a freelance route that ends up turning into a touchdown, and the next play is a 75-yarder to Marquez. So we finished the game fairly strong on those two plays. But the last play goes back to a sideline conversation with Luke Getsy, who ran the play earlier in the game, and saw that they had dropped the corner route. It's an old West Coast concept that we ran all the time when Mike was here. Kind of slowly has been seeping back into game plans. Thankfully, it's nothing special. Turns into a 4-strong play with a backside slant and various guys doing different things. You can mix up the backside route, but in the huddle, I said, Marquez, you go to 3, and Kabi, you go to 2 on this play. Meaning he line up in the 2 spot, Kabi, and because on the previous play that we had looked at, when I looked out on the sidelines, Marquez's angle was a little bit flat, and so I was thinking if I got speed at 3. That's going to attract multiple guys. And if I got Kabi in there, I got a good feeling that he's going to keep that high angle on the corner, and we might start off with an explosive play in the 2-minute. Well, it turned out I came off and looked left, and they double Tay, and I had Mr. 23 miles an hour running down the middle on a safety and put the ball in a good spot, and obviously he scored it.
Hey, so you are like Rain Man. I apologize, AJ. That was unbelievable. I feel like football just came through a fire hose, but everybody on the internet is going to check what you just did and put a video to it, and it is going to be so fucking cool, and I appreciate you doing that. Go ahead, AJ.
I mean, yeah, your recall is unbelievable, but we all know, like, recall doesn't mean anything if you have 3 or 4 toes falling off. You have any update on how you're doing, what you did at halftime to try to help the pain level? These guys all assume you just go in there and get shot up with everything. I tell them Green Bay is very conservative with a lot of that stuff. But how you feeling now on Tuesday after the Sunday game?
I feel similar to how I felt last Tuesday. This is something that's not going to go away. I don't think it's going to be something I'll deal with. I'm not sure what the bye week's going to look like. There's a lot of options on the table. One option that's not on the table is sitting out. So I'm going to push through this and keep playing.
What are the other options?
Yeah, what were the options? Surgery? Out for the year? Amputate?
Yeah, Ronnie Lott that thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just snip it off. That's always an option.
Just the pinky toe, right?
Yeah, just the big toe, right?
Yeah, just the first 2 and half of the 5th, right? No, I mean, there's definitely all options on the table: surgery, rest, sit out. I'm not going to sit out, though. I'm going to keep playing.
Okay, hold on. Doesn't it behoove everybody to know what the hell happened? Because Tom Pelissero, the Arrow, who gets memos from teams, the NFL, into his brain and has the ability to and then to send them out literally so everybody can see him. That is what he's incredible at. He said this is worse than a turf toe, but you're still playing. Turf toe takes people out. Like that actually does. Shouldn't we talk more about you battling through something that is really incredibly painful right now? Or do you think people just don't say that because you're a hippie? And what is it? What did happen? Are you okay?
Well, with all due respect to Tom Pelissero, now I can say whatever I want. I believe that I mentioned that it was more painful than turf toe, and I had turf toe years ago. And the problem with turf toe is that it's that joint in your big toe, and it is very painful. So naturally, I'm leading people to understand that if it's worse than turf toe, there must be some sort of bone issue.
Okay.
So,
that's why I'm covering stuff.
Yeah. Again, it's better the 5th toe than the 1st toe, or even the 2nd or the 3rd, or probably the 4th toe.
Where do we start?
So yeah, are we European counting, like thumbs 1, or are we
Yeah, I'm going, 1 from the big toe, just like, it's 1, 2, 3.
So you're European. Okay.
4, 5, right? This is European now? Okay.
Well, it literally was a war, a whole shootout happened in the basement of a bar because 1, 2, 3, 4.
German, right?
Yeah, the German is the thumb here. I mean, there was an entire situation there. So this, yeah, exactly. Yeah, tree. So
that's 3 if you're Sacramento Kings fan going back to Big Vladdy Dottie when he would occasionally make a 3-pointer, and he's throwing up. I remember the first time he did it, I was like, "It's too legit. What is he doing?"
Oh,
Too legit, too quick.
Hi. And then Jeff Hardy took that right in the guns.
Yeah.
And then Urban was like, give me that. So let's talk, though, about, so this is pinky toe. This is what we're happy, pinky toe, ring toe. And it's obviously did you stub your toe? You were walking around with COVID. Bang! Is that what happened out there?
Look, Pat, I've already talked enough on this show about my medical status and other ways. So I've given you enough information at this point. I have an injury that's not going away, and I'm going to be dealing with it for at least the next few weeks.
And this is pinky toe. Okay, good. I feel like we did our
right.
good for us.
There you go.
Hey, way to go, AJ. We did it.
I think just cut that bad boy off. You'll be all right.
Well, that's what Ohio would do, obviously. But I don't think you ever get talked about for your toughness. Do you think it's just...
I can get you a toe by 3 o'clock.
All right, let's move on. Excuse me. So sorry to interrupt. Hey! Did you know at the age of 30, your testosterone levels start dropping 1% per year? Wow! That means you're going to get fatter, more tired, and lose the strength that you once had. But no worries. Our friends at Roman have the perfect product for you, so you can get back to banging weights, banging humans, and living your best life. $15 off right now. Get Roman.com/USA. Back to the action. Hey! How is the team? How's it feel? You got a bye week coming at like a perfect time, especially with your toe, but Bakhtiari allegedly had a scope within the last couple weeks. There's rumors now he's back for the stretch run. What does that mean? It feels like bye week maybe could be this week, it'd be better, but maybe at the perfect time as well for you guys.
Yeah, we got to get healthy. We got a lot of injuries. Obviously, losing Elton doesn't make us a better football team. He's been so talented. He started center for us at left guard, left tackle. He played right tackle last year in the opener. I mean, he's such a talented player. Kind of, similar to Dave, very freak injury. He kind of was setting out to block Harrison on a free safety pressure off the edge, and looked like he was just bracing on his left leg, and his knee just kind of gave out. So disappointed for him. He's such a great kid, such a talented player, and means so much to us from an energy standpoint and just his play style. I mean, he's a fantastic player. To be able to be so good, all rookie team at guard, and then to be just so reliable at left tackle. I mean, that's just really rare in this league to be able to do that. And obviously a lot of injuries that we haven't thought about, maybe Packer fans, I'm sure, in the back of our mind, but, we still have two of our top defensive players who haven't played a whole lot this year, and Jair and Za'Darius. So I've definitely seen Jair. I feel like I'm not overstepping, stating that he hasn't had any setbacks, I don't think, by any of the medical stuff, the information he's received. I don't know if that means he comes back and plays this year, but I know Z, we're all hopeful that Z's able to come back and play at some point this year, but we've got a lot of injuries. We've had, a number of ACLs that have hurt us, and obviously we've been wanting Dave to come back for a while, and he's just not quite ready. So it's been a grind, but we got a home game against a good opponent this week, and we're going to have to find a way and get to the bye at 9-3.
Have you ever had a situation before in a game like you had this past game when you were trying to call the timeout, the ball is snapped, and then all of a sudden you throw a touchdown pass? And also, as that ball is coming to you when you're trying to call a timeout, what was going through your head?
Oh, shit. It was 3rd and 6, I believe, in that situation. Very important time in the game, 23-17. We started the drive backed up. It's been a really nice drive for us, and knew how important that play was. So I gave a long silent cadence in the huddle. As we broke the huddle, Lucas goes 15, meaning 15 on the play clock. And I said, yeah, we're fine. Because in my mind, I was going to see if they might jump on the first two, or at least, they were Barr and Kendricks were in the A gaps, and it looked like they might plan 0 behind it, which is again with Zimmer, they will bring both backers, but the side of the turn, that backer gets freed up and he gets a drop off.
Turn. What's that mean?
But the center. So we were in a left dominant formation. We had a protection where the center was going to turn to the right. So both backers initially come, but the backer to the side of the turn of the center, he gets a drop off in coverage and kind of buy in an extra guy.
Those guys get picks a lot, right? Because you don't see them at first.
Exactly. And so what happens, Pat, is you have to squeeze to the side away from the turn. So if you bring both guys, and in that situation, our left guard ended up blocking the backer in the left A gap, and the tackle squeezed down on the 3 technique. So the free guy was going to be Everson off the edge. So I was thinking about calling timeout. Now, because of the timing of my leg kick and the snap, Sean Hockley, the referee, rightly allowed the play to go. I'm happy about it now because of the way it turned out. But I will harken back to this, and I said it yesterday. We were watching the film. I wonder this. In 2016, we were playing the Vikings at home later in the year, and they ran almost the exact same pressure, right? And Everson was free off the edge, right? And I knew he was free and knew I didn't have a great place to go with the ball, so I spun out of it to the left and ran it in with a real average juke on the goal line. I think I juked Xavier Rhodes. Jordy Nelson claims that he kind of gave him a push that put him off balance. All that to say, I scored a touchdown on that. The exact same pressure, basically. I don't remember if they're in the B gaps or the A gaps, but and actually they could have been the B gaps on Tuesday. Either way, we were squeezing. Everson was free. I spun out. So I wonder, and you'd have to ask him, was there anything in the back of his mind remembering that play in the moment from 5 years ago that, oh my God, like I'm free, but I got to kind of like make sure this older, marginally athletic guy doesn't try out on me. Crafty, yeah.
So, I'm happy we're at this point, by the way, because just a few weeks ago, remember, he was saying, am I tripping over my own feet? Mm-hmm. Now there's a chance that Everson Griffin has nightmares of 5 years ago.
It's not, I don't think Everson has nightmares.
No, okay. You're maybe a little hesitant, but there's a lot of...
He rocked me a couple of times in the game. I enjoy him a lot. He's a nice guy. He's pretty funny on the field. He said some hilarious things over the years, and I enjoy competing against him. But in that moment when I caught it, oh shit, we're squeezing. I look left at Marquez. He kind of cut his route off a little short. He had a through route, so it was kind of off him and looked quick to the left flat. Cobby was running just a little smoke route, and Pat P was out there, and he was all over it. And I just happened to look inside in the slot at Tay, and Tay had made an unbelievable double move, not in the initial play at all. And I was able to just kind of load on my left, on my right, knowing I'm about to take a shot, and get the ball up enough. And then I saw a flag down, and I was like, "Oh, here we go. Yeah, did we hold or something?" And they called, a marginal roughing the passer, call, and the rest is kind of history on that one.
Yeah, it was an amazing play, amazing touchdown. The internet said that obviously Aaron Rodgers is getting preferential treatment here. Mm-hmm. Clearly called for a timeout, instead threw a massive touchdown. But if you're getting preferential treatment, I don't think you would have signed yourself up to get killed by Everson Griffin. Yeah. But nonetheless, incredible game. A lot of great plays were made. You end up on the wrong side. On the field, you thought Savage caught that? I was dancing around Barclays Center. I was having the time. They went to a commercial. I don't know if you've seen the TV copy. They went to the commercial break. Gumpy was sprinting around Indianapolis. I was dancing in the Barclays Center, yelling while they're shooting things on the other side. And then we came back. Kirk Cousins has the ball still. They show the replay. Once again, I'm watching in Spanish. And I don't know enough of Spanish. I've learned it. They show the replay. It's like, oh, that was clearly a drop. How were we even sold it? On the field, did you guys know that was a drop?
When I saw it live, to me, when you saw the ball come out, that goes back to the issue of leaving your feet going to the ground. You got to secure the catch all the way to the ground. But as we've seen at various times, once you're on the ground, if the player knocks the ball out of your hands, they've been rightly calling that a catch. So I went and got my helmet, but I was really thinking, I don't think this one's going to stand. Went out there and immediately, close thereafter, they showed the replay up on the Jumbotron, and I was talking with Anthony Barr out there, and he was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "It's not a catch."
Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah. Hey, AB, you and AB get along, by the way? You and AB get along? I saw you guys interacted with each other a couple times through the game.
Look, we had, in 2017, we had a misunderstanding for sure. I felt like he might have given me the middle finger as I was walking off with a broken collarbone. In 18, we talked about it and kind of, patched things up or whatever. Let bygones be bygones. He's a Pac-12 guy, and we've played it. We've kind of passed that threshold. We've played against each other so many times that there's like an ingrained respect that goes in. And same with Eric Kendricks and Harrison Smith. Played against those guys and Everson. Those four guys have been around there for so long. There's just a respect level, knowing what it takes to keep being your best year after year, and there's a respect level that goes along with it. So we're actually talking about our colleges. The Golden Bears romped in the big game, 41-11 over Stanford, and UCLA beat their crosstown rivals. I believe it turned off 62-33 or something.
Hey, he jumped over a guy. That dude, DT.
That was amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
How good is Harrison Smith? I feel like that dude should get talked about all the time. If you watch that dude disguise his coverages and blitzes and everything he does, and then the plays he makes, watching his film is a thing of beauty. Showing him disguise. How tough is it facing a dude like him?
I mean, I think the way that he disguises should probably be standard secondary teaching tape. He's, I think, the best in the game at that. And then you add to it, he's a really good blitzer. He's got a number of sacks over the years. And then you add to that, he's a great tackler. And then you add to that, he's got great ball skills. So, he's definitely the total package. Played against him for a long time. I have a ton of respect for him. He is the most difficult person, I think, in the league to determine whether or not he's blitzing, what he's doing on certain plays. They do such a great job disguising. It takes the two inside backers and the safeties and the corners to create a great disguise. They did a great job of that with Barr and Kendricks and Smith all kind of aligned. A few times, you guess right, because it is a guessing game at times. But if you have audibles in the game or check with me's that are based on shell. Is it too high or one high? A lot of times taking your best guess based on all the information. But a lot of times over the years, you guess wrong. I happen to guess right a few times in the game on Sunday, and especially in the second half. And that's, I think, what kind of got us to a rhythm on some of those check with me's. But
can you explain that? What check with me is?
Yeah, so we have a run or a pass called in the huddle. And the run can be based on a specific technique you want to run the ball to, and that could be a defensive line technique, could be where the linebacker's located, or it could be a safety location as well, or it could be one high or two high. So one high safety or two high safety. And then you could have an associated run to the opposite side with that initial run, or you could have a pass play or a keeper, any of those things. So a lot of that is, certain situations, certain teams, you feel like with the front information and maybe the way the corners are playing or the safeties or linebacker location, it might be a little bit easier. Or some teams like to line up in their final defensive structure maybe a little earlier based on cadence or based on any other factor. But Minnesota likes to hold as long as possible. There's certain tells with certain teams, like if it looks too good to be true, a lot of times it is. Like maybe the will linebacker is sitting in the A gap and there's no B gap or C gap support player. You're thinking, all right, there must be weak rotation on this play, so you can kind of guess. But what Minnesota does is they stick the Mike in the A gap and the Will in the weak side B gap, and the last second they both jump over two gaps and the safety comes down right at the snap. So a lot of times you are just guessing on on what it is, and thankfully, I definitely in the second half I guessed right more than I guessed wrong.
Couple quick follow-ups as a sports stooge who doesn't know football anywhere near as much as you two, obviously. This used to happen. I think Bill Belichick started doing this to Peyton, where they wouldn't move until like 10 seconds left in the play clock or 5 seconds left in the play clock because they thought at that point Peyton wasn't able to check the play. And with that being said, does that mean there's 4 plays being called or could be called in the check with me? What does Scary Ninja mean?
I'm not talking about Scary Ninja, but ninjas.
Hey, that's recall from last year, by the way, huh?
Ninjas can be scary, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Jackie Chan, Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah, Steven.
Any of the kids in Three Ninjas.
Maury Tanaka, yeah.
Steven.
Ninja Turtles.
Seagal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal, hard to kill.
Tough. That guy survives everything. That motherfucker's been through it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even remember what the question
is there 4 plays there? And do you have a time in your head where you can't go? And this might be too much information, but I think it's been figured out at this point. Is that why you're always so close to 0? Because you're trying to hold on as late as possible because defensive coordinators are kind of fucking with you in that?
I mean, I think this game we did a better job. I mean, the only time we were up against it seemed like, was when I was, thinking about calling timeout and Lucas snapped it. We actually did a lot more short cadences this week. Just to try and get them to respect the fact that we wanted to, try and combat some of the disguise. So that's what you got to do. You got to mix it up. Some weeks you run 4, 5, 6, 10 plays on first sound. Against teams that you want to get up and just get things going. Some teams you like a long cadence to really, get to the perfect play based on the final coverage.
That's a long one right there. Did you hear what I just did right there? That was a long one. I mean, that's a lot of the play clock being eaten up by this incredible cadence. Go ahead, Todd.
Aaron, I can only imagine how loud it was in the stadium on Sunday. They mentioned on the TV copy like several times how you couldn't really hear anything in there. At this point in your career, does that really affect the offense that much? Because it seemed like when you were feeding off it when they were getting their loudest, and you dice them up, get a big first down or that touchdown to MVS. At this point, does that even really affect you guys that much?
I'd say we're pretty good at all of our silent adjustments, route adjustments, cadence. We've done really good over the years. I think I said it on the show a few weeks ago. Big shout out to TJ Lang and Josh Sitton and Brian Balaga for their help early on with some of the silent count stuff that I think really changed the dynamic on offense, being able to get off on the snap count. Those guys did a great job of inspiring and using their creativity to try and figure out how to best utilize that silent count. But look, I've played in some really loud environments over the years. The loudest outdoor is obviously Seattle. I mean, that place is really nutty to play in, and you can't hear anything. I mean, you're screaming in the huddle. I've had to signal in the huddle at times because it's so ridiculous. The old Metrodome, as far as inside stadiums, the old Metrodome, I think has got to be the loudest. I mean, that place was
Minnesota.
Absolutely rocking in Minnesota. It was just smaller. The new stadium is a beautiful stadium in Minnesota. It's not as loud as the old Metrodome. It's very loud still, but nothing. I don't think. I mean, Atlanta in the playoffs in 2011 was crazy loud, and in 16. But the old Metrodome, because they were pumping in that sound, is probably the loudest indoor stadium.
Whoa. The RCA Dome, did you ever play here before Lucas Oil was open? They said that place was loud. They got accused of piping in noise as well because of how loud it was. Not proven. Not proven. Hey, you watch this? Not proven. It's all hearsay. It's all a bunch of bullshit. You watch Man in the Arena, that first episode about Tom? And is that something you would get into?
I didn't see it. I like binging shows. So if there's a point where you can binge it, then I might check it out. But yeah. I think are they going one a week? What are they doing?
Yeah, this is the new thing. Apple started it with the morning show and Ted Lasso, where they only release one a week. Fucking get on with it. Give us at least 3. We need at least 3. I think that would be the proper amount if you still want to get a couple week buzz. Don't you agree?
I agree. A couple week buzz, is that what you refer to it as?
Yeah, because it comes in, everybody watches it. It's one weekend where, like Tiger King, for instance, it comes in one weekend, then it's dead. I think they wanted to combat that with all their work so they could extend the time. I don't know. I just hate it. I hate it. I'm like you. If I'm deciding to pay attention to this, you better give me all of it, because this ain't going to happen again.
No, that's how. And I love Ted Lasso. Thanks for the recs on that. But even with Ted Lasso, I would lag behind and hopefully not get any spoilers so I could watch 2 or 3 in a row. Just because, I don't have an extended amount of time to really watch TV in general. But if I'm going to sit on the couch and do rehab or just zone out for a little bit, I need a couple episodes at least in a row.
I agree. I don't think you're being too high maintenance. I agree. And maybe we're both wrong, because it feels like every show is now becoming one a week. It's like, no, we had this before. We don't like this. We changed. We completely changed the game. We don't do this anymore. Last question here for me before we get into, the most amazing book club announcement of all time. Yeah. Is there anything that you'll carry with you through your quarantine, where you had to be by yourself for 10 days? Aside from breaking toes on things, is there anything that you'll carry into everyday life going forward? Is there anything you got out of quarantine that, maybe a positive out of this whole thing? Or?
Man. I don't know. I mean, it was quiet. I definitely missed seeing the guys. When I spent time this off season, working on myself and away from the team and enjoying my time off, it kind of started to feel like what retirement might be a little bit. And both you guys played for a long time, and have I'm sure there was periods where you were like, I missed the game, but I enjoy what I'm doing now. But also just missing the camaraderie and the competition and the locker room and different things. And so I got to feel that. I think there, regardless of who we are, there's at least a minimal level of fear about what that next chapter looks like. And I feel like this offseason I faced that down and said, well, it feels pretty good. I like what this feels like. I'm not worried about life after football, but I was still training and dedicated to, coming back if things kind of look the right way. And I'm so glad I did. I've had a blast with these guys. Being away from the squad again was the first time since I had a real bad concussion a few years ago, minus the surgery in 2017. And I really missed the guys. I really missed the locker room and the BS and the jokes and the meetings and just all the little things that make the week passable. As you're getting ready for the most important and the most fun part, which is the game. There's so many great things: the presentations, the side conversations, the jokes in the locker room, the characters I have to my left, the D-line and Preston, and characters across the other side of the locker room, the offensive linemen, and just the interactions. And so I miss those a lot, and just continuing to cherish those and have a lot of gratitude to still be doing this, to get to play, to not have to test for the next 74 days. All those beautiful things that come out of being by myself for 10 days.
Well, we're happy to have you back, and it doesn't sound like you're counting down the days to your next test at all or anything like that. So I wonder, do you have it like on a calendar in the, all right, how many, we got 74 more days. All right, 16 days free here. All right, let's keep this thing.
I don't, but again, I'm thankful that I felt good in just a few days and didn't have any lingering effects other than the COVID toe. But
we did it. We got the fucking answer.
There it is.
We did it. There was a New York Post headline yesterday speculating that because A.J. Hawk said you and Joe Rogan were smoking DMT, and on one of your trips, boom, something happened to the toe. The New York Post said maybe A.J. Hawk knows something we don't know. There was a lot of other accusations.
They gave AJ some pub, huh?
Oh, and then his face, the picture they chose was him mid-blink, and he looked, it was very rude. I mean, it was unbelievable. But COVID toe was something people were saying. I'm happy we got to the bottom of this. Look at us, journalists. Hey, we're journalists. We're journalists. We're journalists.
Age, did Laura cut that out? I hope that's framed. Maybe.
She has no idea that happened. Zero idea about it.
I'll have Sam send it to me.
I bet Vetter knows all about it.
Pat was worried. No, Pat was worried about that I wouldn't like the picture of me, which I'm on here for multiple hours, 5 days a week. You can pretty much get whatever you need if you need a bad picture of me.
And
just screenshot something. But I was more surprised that you didn't deny it. You didn't deny it. So I was like, all right, it might be true.
That was fucked up. What they did to you, AJ.
You guys were swinging kettlebells, smoking DMT virtually, obviously probably carrying your laptop. Boom. Toe just hit one of these walls in my 72,000 square foot house.
By the way, that's awesome that you and Joe Rogan were hanging out during your quarantine doing the kettlebell swings with those gorilla ones.
Yeah. I have some. Those are awesome.
We were hitting the heavy bag together, doing some kicks. Yep. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, it's too heavy of a bag, and you didn't know you're supposed to hit with your shin there. It's not it's not your foot. You turned your foot. Was it your left or your right? Right foot. You turned your right foot. Boom! Hit that pinky on it. That bag felt it, but so did you, obviously.
You put your left foot in, and you put your left foot out.
Yeah.
Then you put your left foot in, and you shake it all about.
Oh, it was the hokey pokey that got you, wasn't it? That's fucking unbelievable. Can't wait to see how the world.
Old DFT hokey pokey, man.
Could you imagine him and Joe Rogan? That was so much fun. You put your foot in too far. Oh, my fucking toe. All right, let's get to a much more educational part of the program. Hey, 18 seconds left in the first half, 13 seconds, whatever it was. You were heading in to get treatment? Is that what happened there? If I didn't ask you about this, I would be considered an asshole. You were in the tunnel. It looked hilarious. There's no way you could have thought the ball was coming back to you guys. Trainers, you decide to go in. What happened?
Well, if you remember what happened, I told them I wanted to go in. So Nate and I started walking in, got a nice chorus of boos on the way out.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
The first play was there was a replay, right? They had to look at it, a review, because the receiver caught it. They said, and then it was obvious that it was dropped. So I just wanted to wait till second down if we did pick it off, or if there was a turnover, because it looked like they were going to try and go score. The ball on 25 with whatever time was left. So I wanted to just give it to second down to see if we made a play. I figured if they didn't complete it on second down, or if it was a minimal gain, they would run it on third down and punt. And unless we blocked it, Jay could, take the snap and kneel down, more than capable. That's a funny story as well. I won't get into about the minor freak out that happened, whether or not Jordan needed any snaps with Lucas Patrick or not. I love J-Lo because he was like, I'm fine. I'm good.
Oh, so the kid was confident. People were trying to tell him maybe you need to take some, and he's like, will we please relax?
Yeah. Come on, we're good.
Hey, J-Lo's going to be a guy, maybe.
Hey, here we go.
Hey, maybe. I like to hear that. That's a big deal.
Yeah, proud of him.
So what you do? You went and got a shot in the foot?
I went and got a little treatment.
On your COVID toe. What'd they do? Did they give it a mask? Did they give it a vaccination? What do they do to the COVID toe?
Are we doing the...
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the smartest, most academia thing we are a part of, and I have ever been a part of in my entire life. It is time for week 12 of the Aaron Rodgers Book Club. Obviously, this thing has been captivating the universe of readers since the very beginning of the season. There's been new readers. There's been old readers tapping back into the eyeballs to read once again. Last week, he gave us Fingerprints of the Gods, a 7,000-page book that there was no way anybody was able to complete in 1 week, but they'll keep it on the list for the off-season. This week's book is...
I'm gonna do a little lead in because I've been picking a lot of more serious books, I would say. This book was sent to me this week by a dear friend of both AJ and I's, and I wanted to highlight it. I haven't read the whole thing yet.
Oh no!
The first one I haven't read all the way through, but Age and I know this guy. We have for a long time. And I want to highlight his new book that he co-wrote. It's by Brian Baumgartner and Ben Silverman. It's called Welcome to Dunder Mifflin.
Oh, let's go. Here we go.
And for those of you like myself and AJ, and I don't know about the boys, but who are huge fans of The Office, and some of us who actually got to be in an episode, The Office helped me get through COVID. I mean, I watched it 2 more times from the beginning to end during 2020. Again, you can binge shows, and that one is amazing. I first started watching the British version of The Office, starring Ricky Gervais, years and years ago on a recommendation from my friend Joey.
Genius.
And loved it. And then, obviously fell in love with Steve Carell and the American version of The Office. Brian Baumgartner, who played Kevin Malone, by the way, doesn't talk like that in person. I want to, obviously, if you've seen him on various shows, he's also a Packers fan. But he did a couple podcasts. I want to get the names right here for Brian. An oral history of The Office, and a newer podcast which is called The Office Deep Dive with Brian Baumgartner. I want to show this photo of him. He's also really big on. Can you see that?
Yeah. Move it. Yep, right there.
There he is.
He's also really big on Cameo. He wanted me to mention that as well. But this book is written similarly to the way that the podcast was recorded, with a lot of interviews with people and back and forth. And look, The Office, one of the most watched shows of all time. At one point, I believe it was watched 4 times. It was the most watched show on Netflix with like 8% of the viewing audience, and the next highest was at 2%. So Netflix definitely fleeced NBC for The Office when they licensed it, because so many people were watching so many minutes of that show. But definitely fun to highlight Brian. I've met him in 2008. He's from Georgia, but a big Packer fan now, and excited about his book that just came out. And thanks for sending it out. So next week, I don't know if I'm going to do a more serious one again, or something a little more subtle.
Israeli study next week, right?
Dude, are you kidding me with this? I'm really pumped about this. What's the name of this one?
This one is called Welcome to Dunder Mifflin, the ultimate oral history of The Office.
Well, I can't wait to dive into the podcast to tell me what's happening in that book. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy the hell out of that. I, too, big Ricky Gervais fan. I've seen The Office. The Office here is big fans of The Office. We appreciate you for joining us, man. Thank you for another incredible Tuesday, dude.
Yeah, I feel like we got a couple good nuggets there, and
oh, here we go. All right.
Put that capo on.
Something?
No, I was going to let you lead the way, and then we were going to sing our song that we practiced.
What do you guys sing?
It's our song, Aaron. Go ahead.
Our song?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I was just about to get into it. It's Tuesday. What they say is that Aaron Rodgers is rather great. The son of a bitch lied. Oh. I thought that's where we're still writing it. I thought we were gonna. You guys just got a chance to kind of dive into a writer's room with me and Aaron.
Process.
Like that show you like, yeah.
All right, we're back in 4 minutes. I hope everybody goes and gets the book. Shout out to Cuz with the cameo and the book. I hope it's incredible, Mr. Baumgartner. And I need to watch The Office more. I think everybody seems to love it. We're back in 4 minutes, wrapping up this Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. Great journalism, AJ. Great journalism.
Hey, AJ.
Thank you, Aaron, for your time. I'll see you in 4.